Alright, so this is not the most common thing, but here we are again with a technical video about 3 cameras that I currently have in my possession. You could pretty much say that I have a fourth, but not really anything good. So one of my thing with the ELP camera was that it's 720p 60 frames. That could be good for base videos. No showing you to pick up, the movement smoother. And previously I've checked, because I mentioned that the mobile phones, the cameras in them are kind of really badass, and it's a shame that that the manufacturers or Google, perhaps especially during this corona, haven't just written like a driver or application that makes that easy to access the phone's camera through USB. So it won't drain your battery or something like that. So I've checked this before and I haven't really found any application that could take the 60 frames per second camera mode or video recording mode in my Samsung S8 and get that to my computer as 720p or 1080p 60 frames recording. So a little bit sad, but so now there is one application that says in its setting 60 frames, but if it is recording that, that's a whole nother story. And even if it's recording 60, it might not be as smooth because of different things. But I'm gonna try it out and think, why not do a little bit of a video to just see which camera looks the best. So in the top left corner, that is the ELP camera running at 720p 60 frames per second, looking quite nice. And below that one you have my Microsoft LifeCam that is running 1080p. I have shrunk that it down so I can compare them all together, the latency and the ghosting, the smoothness, the color, everything. And you can also see this, so that's why I think, well, if I'm gonna do this, why not just record it and upload it, so it might help others. So, but in the bottom left corner, Microsoft LifeCam Studio, 1080p, 30 frames, max. It's not running 720p because it can only do 30 frames anyway. So I was thinking, why not give it kind of get that camera the best it can, since it can only do 30 frames and the other ones are running 720p. And as you can see in the bottom right corner, it says iVCam, and that is a software that is installed on my computer and on my Android, my Samsung S8 Plus. And I've hooked USB cable just to make sure that for the battery life and everything, and maybe I don't know. I haven't found a toggle in the software to like force USB mode, but when I did hook it up, it did enable. I could see that in the application USB mode. So it might be helping with transfer rates or something, stuff like that. Let me just check one thing here. I'm gonna try to close that one down, and I'm gonna try a quick, just to see for fun. No, it's still using, you can see, but I'm checking. It's using about 17 megabit per second to stream. So it's not using the USB cable. A little bit sad, because the USB, you could have transferred even more, and you could access, depending on the hardware, or maybe you could access the hardware more directly and stuff like that. But it is running through Wi-Fi. But I don't know, 17 megabit per second, and it's supposed to be 720p 60 frames per second. I could bump it up to 1080p, but I wanted to give the ELP and the iVCam kind of like the same well, just to kind of match them up so that none are really that super highlighted. But what you can see though is that the camera, iVCam, like the colors and everything, I actually think that and the sharpness might actually be one of the better options here. It's gonna be fun to see how it looks when it's connected to, no, not connected, but compressed and uploaded to YouTube. Might actually be a really nice opportunity, you know, to use this as a camera for streaming or, you know, stuff like that. It works nice in OBS. It should work with Skype and stuff like that. So, you know, should be kind of universal. It creates like a virtual camera. So I think most general applications should be able to see it, which is really nice. I really think that the Microsoft Cam really, you know, for the price, so, you know, $60, $70, euro, something like that, it still holds up fairly nice. Even if the sun is about, you know, going down, it's not the brightest light outside or anything, but it's still pushing really good and it works decently during night if I have my lights on here in the room. It's a warm light, but it gets a bit noisier, but still definitely decent. But like, it's really, like, the Samsung camera is really definitely a notch up, even if it's being sent through Wi-Fi compressed and stuff like that. It's still, I think it might, I'm gonna examine it a little bit closer, but I think it still might be better than the Microsoft LifeCam. The iVCam is not free. It's a trial mode I'm using right now, with the watermark there, to try it out to see. It's $10, $9.99 if you want a serial key for lifetime. If you have any software that you think can do 720p and for Android to your phone that are free or are better, please write them down below as a comment, and I definitely will check that out. I saw that it was something called OBS Ninja, but it didn't really seem to be see what I'm looking for. It seemed that you needed to like go through like a web page and stuff like that, and I only want local. I want it, you know, go from my phone through a USB cable preferably, or through my phone, you know, Wi-Fi, and then from the router directly to my computer. I don't want it anything outside of my personal local area network, you know, nothing to do with that. And that's, you know, trying here, see how motion is again. ELP top left, 720p 60. Below it, Microsoft LifeCam Studio, 1080p 30 frames. And bottom right, iVCam, Samsung S8, 720p 60. We see, fun to see if you can spot, you know, the difference here. See what looks best and works best and can capture the motion best. Oh my god, my freaking LifeCam is bugging out again. And that's why I hope the ELP could have been a little bit notch better when it came to the color. I might have to swap out my LifeCam for Samsung S8. Although I would prefer not to, since then I would have to, it will, you know, it will drain my battery more. I will have to charge it more. My S8 is 2 years old, so I want to push. I don't want to, you know, drain the battery too much. I want to use it longer because I'm very happy with that phone. So So yeah, I think this is good enough. Gonna upload this. Gonna look at the raw file and trying to see what might do work best. Hope you enjoyed it. Definitely fun to see and try this out. And it would be fun if the iVCam actually came out when I examined it closely to be the best options, because it has a great quality colors and whites, so that would be really nice to record this. And then if the ELP were to work really nice for the night vision, I'm happy with that mode. So for that. And then if my Microsoft LifeCam could stop bugging out, I think it is a little bit of a loose connection, something within the USB there, but if it can keep working, I have that for the regular streaming. Otherwise, if it starts getting worse and worse, it's good if the iVCam worked, because then I might be able to use that one for streaming, regular streaming cam. So, but we'll see. Though it was a little bit shame that I can't get the ELP just to be more like the Microsoft cam, because if you look at the both now, the top left and the top right, you can see I try to get them the same brightness, and doing so you get this kind of white washed out feeling or colors on the ELP top left compared to the more correct Microsoft cam. It's still reasonably correct, reasonably nice and everything, because I would have preferred to use the ELP definitely, without a doubt, because it's I like having one camera. It has a nice long cable, so I can move it around. It seems very sturdy, and to be able to use the 720 60 frames, even if it's only for my streaming and chatting, it's still nice to have nice smooth capture, because I feel it really is quite nice. It's definitely hard to tell compared to the Microsoft. So Microsoft isn't bad, but definitely nice to get that the best, smoothest motion, definitely. And if you have any tips about the ELP to maybe make it the image more look closer to the Microsoft LifeCam, please post them below also. Would love to get tips for that. Everything is basically manual for the ELP camera, except for the white balance, because I did discuss that in my previous video. It seems very broken at the moment. Now it's still sufficient light, so the auto mode with the white balance seems to be the only one that can get even close to displaying correct colors. But yeah, if you have tips for the ELP to make it better, please post them. If you have tips for Android camera software, preferably through USB, that can transfer 720p 60 frames or better. Obviously that's gonna depend on your camera, but my Samsung S8 can do 1080p 60 frames per second recording. So it would be nice if I could get that through the cable USB into my computer, because that would really, it would be a pretty badass, to be quite honest. Really badass camera. You could use it for recording these nice smooth bass videos or other stuff, and it would just be amazing, that because the S8 is a really nice camera. But that's it for this video. Hope you find it enjoyable. I'm gonna end video and gonna look closely at the recording here and upload it to YouTube as soon as possible.